Hello everybody, welcome to a new series where I take a look back at USATC excursion locomotives. In today's episode, we will be talking about the USA S100's. Granite Rock Company No. 10 was built by the H.K. Porter Company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1942. Its builder number is 7461, and it was originally USATC 5001 and was stationed at the Army Depot in Tracy, California. After the war, the locomotive was sold as surplus and was purchased by the Granite Rock Company, where it switched cars at a quarry near Logan, California until around 1960. In 1995, the Granite Rock Company donated No. 10 to the California State Railroad Museum. That same year, the No. 10 was restored to operation. The locomotive is now owned and operated by the California State Railroad Museum in Sacramento, California. The steam locomotive pulls trains on the museum's excursion railroad, the Sacramento Southern. The Georga Power Plant Company No. 97 was built in 1943 by the H.K. Porter Company for the U.S. Army Transportation Corps, originally numbered 5050. It was later used by the Georga Power Plant Company to help with the construction of Plant McDougal. During the engine's time there, it was converted to an oil burner for one-man operations. The original side tanks that sloped down at the front were also replaced with squared-off tanks. In 1965, the engine was donated to the Southeasterners Railway Museum, where it once used to take passengers up and down its demonstration line. Today, the engine sits at the Southeasterners Railway Museum, awaiting funds for a restoration operation. No. 3 was built in 1943 by the Vulcan Iron Works for the U.S. Army. After a time in the U.S. Army, No. 3 was sold to the Wawa and Concord Railroad in 1963. If you don't know already, the W&C was a tourist line started up that failed. Anyways, after the W&C closed, 3 was purchased in 1976 by Brian Woodcock, who in 1980 donated to the HRCV, aka the W&W. They repaired her and put No. 3 into service while 98 got repairs. She helped too when 98 got backhauling trains upgrades. W&W didn't need her anymore, and they sold No. 3 to the Queen Anne's Railroad in 1989. 3 operated there from 1991 to 1996. After the railroad closed, it seemed like the end of the line. Then 3 was moved in 2003 to Ocean View, Delaware. Soon after, a restaurant was built and acquired 3 and some New Haven coaches, which were converted into restaurants. The first restaurant lasted from 2006 to 2011 and was called the Royal Zephyr. The second restaurant is called Salty Rim, which opened in 2015 and kept the locomotive. Apparently, the locomotive was going to be sold for scrap. Thankfully, this decision was not made. The locomotive is still located at the Salty Rim restaurant in Delaware. The Albemarle Paper Company 060 dock tank engine was built in 1942 for the U.S. Army, but was sold off as surplus to the Albemarle Paper Company. Later on, the Albemarle Paper Company donated the 060 to the Old Dominion chapter of the NRHS. The locomotive used to pull small excursion trains back and forth on its demonstration line. The locomotive is currently going through its 1472-day inspection and is still located in Richmond, Virginia.